Am I the butthole for telling my parents they were bad parents to me? I, 19M, have an autistic brother, 20M. He's fairly manipulative because he realized pretty quickly that the threat of a meltdown would get him his way every single time. He is considered high-functioning by medical personnel, but he's got my parents convinced he just doesn't understand what he's doing, and they don't ever punish him. Doctors have told them that he understands and that he knows what he's doing. They think they know better. They also expect me to revolve my entire life around him. I was never able to do anything I wanted because it upset his routine. I wanted to play a sport, nope, his routine. I wanted to get a job? Nope, his routine. Friends? Yeah, forget about that. I tried not to be resentful, but I am. The problem, my parents are flipping out because I plan to move several states away and in with my grandparents soon to attend school. They keep trying to guilt me into staying because of my brother. I usually just say that I'm sorry that they feel that way, but I'm still going. Well, here's where I might be the butthole. My mother was going on and on about how the world doesn't revolve around me and how I was being really selfish and how I was going to ruin my brother by doing this. How they'd always been the best parents they could be to both of us and we both got equal attention. I got frustrated and told her that she was delusional if she thought she or my father were ever good parents to me. They made my life revolve around my brothers. I had nothing of my own. He had to be the center of everything. I said he wasn't the center of the universe even though she tried to make him it. I told her that the only people who were selfish were her and my father because they actively ignored me in favor of babying my brother who played them like a fiddle to make sure he always got his way. I told her that his routine was not my problem, that it was up to them to make the appropriate adjustments, and asked if she really thought I'd just not live my life because of him. She started crying and I walked off and shut myself in my room. My father is demanding an apology for what I said, but I'm refusing. My grandpa said he's proud that I stood up for myself, but my parents are still demanding an apology for being a butthole. I don't think I need to give them one. Am I the butthole here? NTA. High five, virtual applause and standing ovation. I was literally fist-pumping reading what you told your mom. Good for you. There is nothing to apologize for. You told her the truth. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect my comment to blow up like this. Thanks everyone for the upvotes and rewards. I am just a Redditor who really felt for Op's situation. Absolutely nothing to apologize for. You're a teenager, you deserve to do teenager things like play sports or get a job and especially hang out with friends. You deserve your own life and to try new things. Congrats for standing up to them and best of luck for uni. The job thing absolutely appalled me. If I was the parent of a teen and they said they wanted a job, I'd be effing thrilled. Sounds like they expect Original Post to be the brother's carer when mom and dad get too old. Not letting Original Post have friends is just WTF. These parents are straight up delusional for thinking they were good parents to Op. If I had said I wanted a job as a teenager, my parents would have jumped for joy, lol. But yeah, they're literally just keeping Original Post isolated and trapped so they become brother's carer when the parents can't do it anymore. Edit, not the butthole Original Post. My mom used to come home from fast food restaurants and grocery stores with applications for me. That's actually how I got my first job. But it was either that or not drive, because that was a contingency to take my driver's test. Same here. I screwed up and lost my first job at 16 and after not finding another in 30 days, it was the 90s, you tripped over jobs when you went searching for them, they drove my ass down to the DMV and surrendered it back to the state. It was a good lesson though. I was at another job for a couple of months when I turned 17 so I was able to get it back and never slacked off when I needed to work or find a job again. They surrendered your ass at the DMV? Huh. At least you got it back again. That's not okay. Why wouldn't they just take it and give it back? Why humiliate you like that? It's senseless and cruel in my opinion. I don't know, but I disagree on both points. Maybe I should share more though. They had no problem with me using their vehicles when available as long as I paid the difference in the insurance when they added me. Between the two of them I usually had one available when I needed it. Several months after I turned 17 and had my license back, they helped me with a small loan of $2,400. My dad helped me find a serviceable beater for $1,200 and we fixed the few issues it had. I was even able to put $300 into a nice stereo. I paid them $112 per month for 24 months because my mom took a signature loan from the bank. From what I can recall, they said something about proving to insurance I wasn't going to drive their cars. I really couldn't care though. I was a kid and I violated the terms for having my driver's license. I can't argue that, and a little humility went a long way for me. A $2,400 beater in the 90s? Damn, my beaters have all been 100 or less. It was a 1976 Duster with a 225 that I paid $1,200 for, and being that it was Grandma's car that granddaughter refused to drive, it was in okay shape. All original though, and worn out. Rebuilt parts were cheap, so we replaced all the accessories. The biggest expense was the AC because we had to have a shop do it. I guess it wasn't a beater, but compared to the other cars I paid $1,200 for over the years, it was the most dangerous and handled the worst. Yeah, I agree. That just sounds way over the top. The irony is that their actions, to try to make sure that Original Post feels compelled to take care of his brother, mean that he won't feel compelled to do so. If the parents treated Original Post well and disciplined the brother, Original Post might find caring for the brother after the parents couldn't as being a reasonable obligation rather than an unrealistic expectation. The brother is high functioning. If they did their job, the brother likely wouldn't have needed anyone to take care of him. And possibly doesn't. The saddest thing about this is that they did Op's brother just as dirty, only in a different way. If he's high functioning, then he potentially could be living on his own now, but they fostered dependency instead of encouraging growth. Good luck reversing it now though. At 20 the damage is likely done. I used to work with developmentally disabled adults and I've seen this crap more times than I can count. I used to work with someone who was also high functioning autistic, and other than thinking something was slightly off, I had no idea until he told me. I haven't worked there in a while, but we still talk. When I think of him, I always think that this is the perfect example of parents raising their kids right even when they have obstacles thrown at them, because he is quite literally the nicest person I've ever met. High functioning anythings work so freaking hard and usually aren't even proud of it because having to work so hard is negative to them. You put more effort into something but feel like the result is 75% of what an undiagnosed neurotypical would get, might even look like slacking off to people who aren't aware. Source: me and some of my high-functioning friends. I loved talking to this guy at work. It was great, especially when we were in the same section. We'd work while talking about random stuff, usually zombie apocalypse if it was just us, or if one of our other friends were there, it was our fake kingdoms that would occasionally go into a verbal war, laughing out loud, and he was always my ally, never enemy. It was great. Right? My grandson has Asperger's and he will graduate this summer, even taking some advanced classes. He even joined the track team. The parents won't live forever, and their parenting will ensure that Original Post will have a hard time getting over the resentment to care for him. Also, if he is high functioning, why would he not push for more independence? If he could have and didn't, then the joke is on him when he has to live impatient at a facility. Some people just like to have others do everything for them, especially when they've been spoiled all their life. The brother is high functioning. By all rights, he wouldn't need a carer. I know a guy in his upper 40s that is a high-functioning autistic, and he is the worst butthole ever. He manipulates everyone into thinking he is the victim and giving him special favors, and it's how he survives, on handouts from anyone who feels sorry for him. He doesn't have a job, has family caring for him, and all he does is sit at home all day playing video games and manipulate people. If you do ever meet the guy, he is such a bully that he will push and push until you give in, with a constant temper tantrum nonstop, even going to others to push you to give in. My mistake early on was buying into the guy's crap and feeling sorry for him and trying to help him from a nursing perspective. I'm so glad I blocked him and walked away from that one-way user's friendship. Yeah, it turns out we are people, too, and some of us are buttholes. Who knew? I love my little brothers, but by the time I went to college, I needed a break from taking care of them all the time. College was great. No one to plan and schedule and manage for but me. It was a pretty heady experience for me. This is the situation I see with disabled siblings all too often. Parents treat the disabled sibling like the golden child, and then have a surprised Pikachu face when the other siblings want nothing to do with them or the disabled sibling once they're old enough to move out. No job is an abuse tactic. No job means no access to money, which means limited options on your own. Source: I was abused and didn't get my first job until I was 19 and in college, upside down face. Yep, if you have abusive parents, they absolutely can pull stuff like this. My abusive mom told me I would struggle to learn to drive and tried to talk me out of it. I ended up waiting a year to get my license because she made me believe it would be too hard. Good parents don't do this. They instead encourage age-appropriate independence and help their kids get to a point where they don't rely on them. You're 19. Your mom doesn't want you to go to school? Honestly, just saying that, without everything else involved, will make most people do a double take. You didn't have kids. It's nice if you can help out with your brother every once in a while, but he's your parents' responsibility. They had him. It's a factor all responsible people consider when they decide to have kids. What happens if the kid has a debilitating disability or illness and I have to care for them forever? This isn't on you. Go to school. FFS. Oh, and ask your parents if they honestly believe it's normal or healthy to want to stop their 19-year-old from getting an education. I'd love to hear what bullcrap they come up with. No job here is almost certainly an abuse tactic, and can often be one, but isn't always. I didn't get my first regular job until I finished undergrad, and my parents gently discouraged me from getting one so I had time for academics and extracurriculars and being a teen, but I was given a car, gas money, tuition/room and board pending money for college, and so on, so I did still have a pretty good amount of freedom. Wow, you just opened my eyes to my own past, mind blown. 100%. They weren't good parents to their other son either. Their coddling has killed most of the independence he would have otherwise had. Exactly. My stepdad is also high-functioning autistic and he's made over 6 figures his entire adult life. The only problem is he wasn't diagnosed until his 40s, but maybe that worked to his advantage. He was treated the same and always held himself to the same standards as his other 2 brothers. That being said, I'm definitely not advocating for people with autism to not get diagnosed, only to not get coddled when they do. In my experience, he contributes just as much to society, if not more, as anybody else work-wise and beyond. He has Asperger's and has to be reminded of personal space sometimes, and in relationships he is easily taken advantage of, which is not okay, so I have to check on him frequently. He's also been accused of harassment at work. He doesn't understand social cues. He's somewhat aware, but he's in his 60s now and set in his ways to a degree. I feel like if he had this diagnosis his whole life, his personal relationships at work would be different. The way it reads makes me think he's actually working the family dynamic, which makes sense considering how he was raised. My guess is that, if he was forced to live independently, he likely could make a go of it. All based on the original post POV, of course. Op is NTA. Agreed, not the butthole. NTA. Your parents abused you. They had this coming. I hope you find a better life and better family out there. Are abusing. Excellent correction, you're entirely right. I hope dude finds his family too. Very important thing to point out. Bond is what makes people family, and I'm so glad that original post has a good relationship to his clearly supportive grandparents that's allowing him to get away from his parents' BS like this. This is a pretty ideal scenario when escaping immediate family. He doesn't have to start from scratch from finding the loving people he deserves to call family. And honestly, his parents also really let down his brother. It's possible he really does get incredibly anxious when things change in his routine, because that's very common even in high-functioning autism. I work with autistic kids and you can feel the anxiety at work when you ask them to do something they don't have experience with / don't prefer / isn't in their routine. I can sympathize. But if I know it's necessary for them, and isn't so traumatizing that it will impact their future ability / willingness to learn, I follow through. Imagine if you were never given the chance to confront your anxieties. You would never get over them. It's tragic that the parents never gave his brother the chance to learn to cope and overcome his anxiety and instead indulged it to a point of driving away their other child and handicapping the kid they were supposedly trying to protect. Any chance you can move now? Agreed. His grandparents are ready and waiting. He should do what he can to move sooner rather than later. He can use the time to settle into his own new life. I want to add to this to say that it would probably be best to move ASAP because his parents might start planning ways to keep him at home. I'd move now. The more time they give their parents, the more likely it's going to get worse because the closer the deadline comes, the more they're going to try and sabotage the exit strategy. I hope you got your important documents squared away and out of their reach, Op. Hopefully they're not like my dead mom who held them over my head for wanting to flee to my cousins, but better safe than sorry. Yes. Get your documents. Also, call your doctor's office and ask them to mail a copy of your health records, any prescriptions, vax records, etc. to your grandparents, and switch over your medical proxy from your parents to your grandparents. Get your social security card, or your country's equivalent. If you have any keepsakes that it would break your heart to lose, mail them to your grandparents ASAP in case you have to make a quick exit. Keep your ID secure, especially if you have to fly to get to your grandparents. Cheering you on, Op. Exactly. I'd get over to Grandpa's ASAP and start building a life. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.